reckoning in room 207. For 27 years, she ruled her courtroom like a throne. One flick of her gavel and lives shattered. But today, the courtroom she weaponized would become her undoing. Inside the Jefferson County Courthouse in Atlanta, Georgia, the air hung heavy not just from the southern heat, but from something unspoken. A truth etched into the floorboards and the walls. In Judge Miriam Lockhart's courtroom, justice bent to her will. She sat high on the bench, glasses low on her nose, her expression unreadable but lethal. Her voice didn't need to rise to control a room it sliced clean in whispers. Lawyers knew better than to test her, especially black lawyers. Her judgments always seemed to tip the same way. Unwritten, unspoken but undeniable. Until now. Today, attorney Daniel Rose stepped into her domain. At 45, he was no stranger to impossible cases. He took on the clients everyone else passed over and he won. But today wasn't just about defending his client, Andre Wells, a man falsely accused of armed robbery. Today was about cracking the foundation Miriam Lockhart had built with decades of unchecked power. Daniel had been here before, had felt her contempt firsthand. But this time, he brought something more than evidence. He brought intention. Lockhart didn't even bother to hide her disdain. "Mr. Rowe," she said flatly, barely glancing at him. "Let's keep this moving. My docket's full, and I don't have time for theater." Daniel adjusted his tie, his face calm. "I'll keep it efficient, Your Honor." She offered a tight smirk. "You'd better." The prosecutor, Caleb Sutton, young and smug with a badge he hadn't yet earned, announced, "The state is ready, Your Honor." Of course he was. In Lockhart's court, the prosecution played with a loaded deck. An Andrea black man who'd been targeted before sat quietly beside Daniel, his hands clenched, his face worn from years of being failed by the system. Daniel leaned toward him. "We've got this." And then the trial began. Only it wasn't a trial. It was theater and Lockhart was the lead. She shot down Daniel's objections without pause. She coached Caleb through fumbled arguments. She treated the defense like noise. Daniel noticed everything. The way her jaw tensed when he spoke, the way she cut him off mid-sentence, the barely veiled disgust in her eyes. This wasn't bias, it was personal. But Daniel had come ready for war. When Caleb introduced surprise evidence not disclosed during discovery, Daniel stood. "Objection, Your Honor. That's a Brady violation. I move for a mistrial." Lockhart sighed. "Denied." Daniel didn't flinch. Just a clarifier, refusing to acknowledge a clear violation of due process. Lockhart leaned forward, her voice ice. "Denied, Mr. Rowe." The gallery stirred. Whispers rippled. Reporters scribbled. "You're this close to contempt," she snapped. Daniel tilted his head. "For asking the court to follow the law." Her gavel slammed down. "Enough." He sat, measured. "Nothing further, Your Honor." Lockhart believed she'd won that round. She hadn't noticed she'd stepped right into his trap. Later, as the prosecution's shaky witness stammered on the stand, Daniel rose again. "How sure are you that you saw my client?" "I think so." "Objection. Think isn't certainty." Overruled. Daniel turned to the jury, let his disappointment hang in the air. No further questions. He returned to the table, his hand brushing the stack of documents that could unravel her world. And then it happened. The heavy courtroom doors burst open. 2 federal agents entered in crisp suits, badges drawn. The gallery gasped. Lockhart's eyes narrowed. "What is the meaning of this?" "Judge Miriam Lockhart," one agent said firmly. "We need a word. Now." "I'm presiding over a trial," she barked. "Whatever this is, it'll wait." "No, ma'am. It's a federal matter." Caleb stood, clearly rattled. "Should we take a break?" "No," she snapped, losing control. "The defense is stalled enough already." "We have a warrant for your arrest," the agent interrupted, pulling a folded document from his coat. The courtroom erupted. Gasps. Cries. Cheers swallowed by disbelief. Daniel stood calmly, turning to the stunned jury, then facing her. "Your Honor," he said softly, "I believe you just denied my mistrial motion, but it seems this trial is the least of your worries now." Her face went white. The warrant was read, bribery, obstruction of justice, civil rights violations. Handcuffs clicked. She stood, slowly, hands trembling, and was led from the bench she'd ruled like a monarch for nearly 30 years. Daniel didn't celebrate. He watched her go in silence. Jamal looked at him wide-eyed. Man, I thought people like her never had to face it. Daniel's voice was quiet. Sometimes they do. A new judge was brought in, Harold Langston, known for integrity and fairness. Daniel stood tall. Your Honor, given the arrest of Judge Lockhart, I move to dismiss all charges against my client. Langston nodded. On what grounds? Daniel turned to the gallery, then back to the bench. Because this was never justice. It was a sham, a fixed match led by a judge now under federal arrest. Langston listened, waited, then delivered the words that changed everything. I agree. The charges are dismissed. The cuffs came off. Andre Wells was free. He turned to Daniel, speechless. You don't need to say a word, Daniel said. We didn't get lucky. We fought for this. As Andre walked out into the Georgia sunlight, free for the first time in years, Daniel lingered behind. Today was a win, but it wasn't the end. He thought of every case Lockhart had touched, every life derailed, every injustice sealed with a gavel. This was a crack in the system, but the machine still ran. He picked up his briefcase, heavier now with the weight of what was ahead. This is just the beginning, he muttered, already preparing for the next fight. If this story struck a chord, share it. Speak up. Justice only moves when we push it. Like, comment, subscribe, because Daniel Rowe isn't done and neither are we.